Alright, hey guys, video 1. We're going to talk about tracking points, importing lenses, and the distance constraint. As you can see, we're importing the footage right now. It's a shot from the windmill that we shot. The robot is going to walk behind the windmill right to left. In 3DEqualizer, as you can see, we imported the footage. If you want to scroll through it, it goes horribly slow. You need to make an export, and it automatically imports the compression file. This makes sure that 3DEqualizer can play back 4K or 8K footage really fast. What it does is just it compresses the file and exports it as a different file. And it loads it into the RAM. If we are going to make tracking points, you can control click and that will make an active tracking point. It automatically makes a pattern tracking point. That means that it will look for a specific pattern inside the inner square. The outer square is the search area where it will search for that in a square. As you can see here, we made a tracking point. We place it onto a rock on the road. The red lines are the original tracking point, and the white lines that now skew are the search area and the active point. Why it skews is because it detects that the footage is moving, so it detects the movement in the footage right away, and it tries to calculate and track the pattern. Because it can see the ground is skewing, it will skew the tracking point as well, because it will make sure that it's better track. As you can see here, make sure what you're going to track is there the whole sequence, or at least a really big part of the sequence. There was a little bit of glass or a shiny rock over there that you can't track it because it's just like 10-20 frames long. So I decided to track a patch of grass that was on the road. What I normally do is I place a tracking point, and after that I track it right away so I can validate it if it's correct. But over here I placed it on frame 1, all of 3 of them, so you can see the triangle. On the ground plane there should always be 2 points in the front and 1 in the back, to make sure that 3DEqualizer can actually see the depth displacement of the shot. So the farther the back point is, actually the better, because you can detect the movement, the parallax in the shot more easily. So you need at least 3 points on the ground plane, 2 in the front and 1 in the back is probably the best. You need 2 on the left side of a wall or something like that, and 2 points on the right side. What I'm doing here is 2 points on the right side, it's on the left side of the screen but on the right side of the wall, and 1 we did on the left side of the wall on the right side of the screen, because I thought that we didn't have really that much information yet. I'm going to place a couple of extra points. So over here I'm placing 2 extra points so we can track it also vertically. So if the camera rotates in the, what is it, I or X axis, Z, if it rotates you can track it with these points. And we have 1 that I'm going to place right now. There's 1 in the back and 1 in the front, so there's a little bit more depth information, because we have all the points that we have right now are really in front of the camera and not farther back. So if you want to have that parallax that 3DEqualizer can calculate the camera track of, you need to make sure that there are enough points in the back for it to calculate the camera track. Alright, we have 11 points now. That's pretty good. You can see here we have the one in depth and the vertical tracking points. After this, 11 points, yeah, I just tracked them here. I skipped the tracking because it takes a really long time. As I said, I normally track, I place, I track and then validate. Now, because I placed them all together and tracked them all together, I need to validate every point independently. It's just what you prefer. I like to track every point that is currently tracking, so I can see right away if it slips. I can stop and delete the track or start over again. Now I need to validate every one, and I can't, you know, make a change right away because I need to validate all of them. We're now going to import the lens. Really easy. Edit, file, import, and then the lens file. All the lens correction files are on the NAS. I copied them to my computer to make them more easily accessible. You need to replace the current lens because otherwise you get two lenses. It's a bit weird to delete the other one then. And before we're going to track it, I'm going to set a distance constraint. Now, I was there when we shot this and we measured the tail lights of the car. Now it's, I think, 2 meters and 30 centimeters between the lights. So we're going to add 2 extra tracking points, which we're going to track, and we're going to set a distance constraint between. Now, the distance constraint is just to make sure that the tracked camera is in the right scale in the 3D space. If we don't do it, the camera or 3DEqualizer will try and determine the size, but it won't really work. So you need to set a distance constraint. So on the point group, distance constraint, you need to enable it. You can define 2 points, which in our case is 12 and 13, and you can set the distance, which is 230 centimeters. Now, if we're now going to calculate, it will place it in the right scale, which if you import or export it to Maya or Nuke, you at least have the correct scale. Now, this is the first time we'll calculate. You use the results, and as you can see in the left lower, the deviation browser. Now the average tracking value is, I think, 0.1, which is really good. You need to get it under 1, or yeah, under 1 is best. Now 0.1 is really good. It's just because I tracked this shot before that I know where to place the tracking points. As you can see, there are 2 tracks that are pretty rough in the beginning, but because the average deviation is so low and we really need the information because we don't have that much tracking points, I'm just gonna leave them in. Now it's time for us to go to the 3D world. You just need to expand your clipping plane and the grid size a bit. As you can see here, we now are in a 3D space. There is the camera. The red line is the camera path that you see in the sky over there. It was a straight line because the camera was on a glider, so it's not really that impressive. As you can see here, this is the distance constraint. You can see it's slightly tilted because the car is also slightly tilted towards the camera. Yeah, overall it looks pretty good. And now we're ready to export to Maya or Nuke.